Akimbo didn't ban Inferno, leave Anubis and Ancient there so that they could choose between both of those maps, because both teams are, you know, pretty effective there. And they had the choice, Mike. They had the choice, but they decided against it, and they end up here, which is, I mean, if you're Vagrants, obviously you're going to go for Inferno because you guys have had way better results than Akimbo have, and there's only one time they've played it over the last 3 months.
So the question is this a trap? Is this a trap pick? And Akimbo have been prepping Inferno.
Oh my God, Mike.
Frankly, the only thing that's making me really hold back from that statement is that Akimbo is not really a team that seems to do a ton of prep, I would say. They play a very fast and loose style at times. So I'm kind of curious what this is going to look like. They've gone for full armor here as an indication of the style that they like to play, and they are double pushing the apartments.
As you would expect. And it works! Cameron gets the first onto Seb. I mean, probably works. They just don't expect to see it. Zai rotating back. Mason takes a little bit of damage, but they've got control of the site. Akimbo going for the retake. The problem is, as you mentioned, Mike, they all bought armor, meaning there are no kits available, so time will be of the essence. They have to go pedal to the metal and take fights now.
Fortunately for us, that's the only gear that they know.
Yes.
Pedal to the metal indeed. This crossfire with Pit is huge. The Moto Smoke slowing them down, but that's one way to dismantle a crossfire. Is you just get the kills, and it's all good. Consti trying to police that bomb can do nothing of the sort. Plenty of time for that defuse, so pedal to the metal indeed.
Oh yeah, they just go out, and the P2K gets 3 frags. Not a pistol we see enough, I would say. A little underrated, because it can really do a lot of damage on those pistol rounds with little extra bullets in there available in the magazine. I think it's just one, but still, it can make a difference. I think close range, a little bit easier to utilize in that USP, which is more of the long range favorite. A little bit, I think a timeout called? No, we're good to go. 1-0 for Akimbo, who have to be happy with that start. The problem is that they gave up a bomb plant, which means a 4-spy is on the cards for Vagrants. They got a couple of Galeals, a MAC-10, and 2 Tech-9s available to them. We saw Akimbo go aggressive in that pistol round. I highly doubt it will change in any of these future rounds. They want to take that banana control probably all the time. They're going to get that util thrown. A couple of nades that do connect for a little bit of damage onto Mason. Obi holding the line at the half wall. And 2-0 wants to flash himself and his teammate out. They win one fight, but that's it. Mason and Brett get a couple. That B site is completely free and clear for the taking.
Ripe to be plucked. The rotation coming in, you're not going to fancy it. They'll still throw the util to clear this out. There's no way to pop this smoke. Their hesitation actually does allow a little bit of a window here for Akimbo. Cameron just staring straight into his teammate's flashbang. They still haven't planted. They still have not planted. Actually, that spam nearly effective. Persuades them not to go for the flower pods boost. Really spooks Akimbo. As far as what might be going on. And yeah, just wave after wave of utilities preventing them from ever getting stuck into this. They do not have a kit. So the time is starting to enter the region where you just got to think about leaving. An extra smoke up will confirm their decision. Akimbo are getting out of there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, just too much aggression there. Down banana for sure from Akimbo. Both players swinging wide off the flashbang without any information as to what might be around that corner. Only one frag, and that gives the Vagrants the entirety of the B site. No one can really get back in because there's tons of util available for the Vagrants. Smoke after smoke. And that spam that you mentioned, Mike, a little bit lucky there for Vagrants that it connects and does damage, because it forced Akimbo back, and that meant that they didn't even have to take another fight to secure the round victory. Smart for Akimbo not to get too impatient and try to take unnecessary fights. They did save those 3 rifles, which means this buy-up is viable. Vagrants calling a timeout. Guess they didn't like something about that previous round and want to make some adjustments. Who charges down mid for Akimbo this time?
That is the critical question. Everybody. Specifically Cameron and Laxi on this one. Laxi with the 1. They keep it even off of the mid thrust. Zai is thinking about it. Considering. Pondering. Holding here a lot longer than anyone normally would. This is so very aggressively postured. Oh boy, the unscoop, just the wrong moment. Seb crosses. They are going to have the fast flank. Whenever this hit starts to actually come through onto Obi, he's going to dump that smoke, and Zai's going to come flying around the bottom of Banana.
I mean, I think Vagrants are aware of that. You'd imagine so.
Don't think so. Here comes the flank. You're not expecting more aggression, but it does get checked. Bomb dropped. Uh-oh. Now you got to fight backwards. Can't go forward. Not without that C4. Damage done. Need this clear out. Mason's brought it down to the clutch, and he's got the bomb, and he can just leave. Which is exactly what he's going to do. Obi attempting the chase. Not Obi. Different show. Yes. Going to be able to get a rifle here. En route. So at least evens up the weaponry, but Mason will be able to get this bomb plant off. And there's plenty of time for the reposition as well. A slip into the pit would be huge. OB's going to check it just before he gets in, and the timing is brutal there for Mason.
That's so unfortunate for Mason. What an effort to even get to that bomb plant, right? Because it felt like that Akimbo were going to have the edge. Zai was getting some wicked shots. I think a headshot through the very tip of the half wall, which took one of the Vagrants players down to below 5 HP and ended up finishing them off afterwards. Just Mason somehow managed to wrangle 2 frags together and grab the bomb and pull it back to the A site, but just gets caught right before he gets to that pit. And it will be Akimbo finding a second, so back and forth we go. The seesaw ride continues. And the Vagrants, I was going to say they have a force buy coming up, but this is more than a force buy because they got the 4 AKs and the MAC-10. That's what the bomb plant has given them. It's another pretty much full buy, a little bit lighter on the util than they'd like, but they're going to try and take these fights towards top Banana. Smoke pop, a couple of nades come through. Obi spraying down, hoping to connect on some targets through this smoke. It does a little bit of damage onto Mason, and now a touch more. Thing is, they've lost control, and staying here too long could be costly.
Cameron's going to drop. For once, Akimbo playing something that looks like a default.
Yeah.
Great effect. Sitting behind the smokes. A util advantage playing off nicely.
It's kind of disappeared now. I'd say it's swung around the other direction because Akimbo have used a lot of their util already. Although, actually, take that back.
Yeah, there's still some stuff out by the church.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Cycling the util. Okay. Oh, boy. My goodness, it works out for N2O. Go forward, cycle util to then get flashed forward and swing in. Ambitious, to say the least, but he pays it off beautifully. That's going to funnel them in towards A. Laxi can collect as Seb tries to get some space out towards the arches. Cameron could just shut this whole round down. He will do exactly that.
Okay, Akimbo. Not too shabby. They play a default. They do it well. They control the flow of play. N2O could have had more there, honestly. I mean, the flashbang was beautiful. His spray got away from him on the second player, but first frag helped. It pushed the
Better to
Vagrants
restrain
back.
Yourself, though. That's good. It's not just outright aggression. It's calculated aggression. And then restraint being shown.
Exactly. And then just holding the angles well and waiting for the Vagrants to walk into their crosshairs. It was actually beautifully done. One of the best rounds Akimbo has played so far here tonight.
It does feel like they might be working on things. But now, of course, they go for the aggression down mid. And N2O gets himself a couple. A third found as well. Zai behind him. It's just Brett.
I want to say...
enters the fray.
Yeah, I want to say I can forgive them for pushing on a pistol round, but also that's super dangerous because the pistols get more lethal.
Catch him off guard, John. Catch him off guard.
I mean, is it catching them off guard when it's what you do all the time? I don't know.
Always keep them guessing by not
Yeah.
guessing yourself.
Well, I think it was just because it was an eco for vagrants that Akimbo did that. That's what my brain tells me anyway. But sometimes logic isn't locked.
Oh, look at this nadage.
Nice nade.
Look at this nadage. Goodbye N2O. They went for the heavy sandbags play, and now the doors of B are getting battered down. There's still Obi here. Still got a smoke to potentially slow them, but at this point, I mean, they might just be passing. Yeah, they're just going to chase it. They're going to run this down. Obi survives. But so do his opponents on the other side.
This might be a save.
For many teams, it definitely would be. But, well, this kill outside, now there's not much to save left. It's just Cameron.
Okay.
And it is no longer Cameron.
I mean, I guess they looked at their money and said, we don't care what the situation is. We got money we're going to buy in the next round.
They
just
don't, though.
sent it.
I suppose they do. Cameron can drop one over. It'll be all right.
No, but
It'll
that's what I'm
be
saying.
okay.
They have the money, so they're okay. But, like, sometimes, even if you have the money, it's worth it to save, especially on that CT side, to keep your economy as healthy as possible.
Can't get a leopard to change its spot sometimes.
I suppose not. All right. 7th round of play. And the Vagrants got one back, looking for more. Oh my goodness, N2O misses the shot. No charging down mid for Akimbo this time, and N2O has to walk through that incendiary Molotov, I should say, and take so much damage from it. Cameron managed to get the first frag, but look at the damage that's being taken here by Akimbo. 3 players below half health.
Wounded or not, though. Still got the crosshairs up, and they've still got full build to utility as well. So you're happy to have dealt with Brett. The stall-out ability from these remaining players is going to be strong.
And stall out they will. Here, just waiting for Vagrants to come in as much as it must pain them, Mike, not to take those fights.
It's all right, though. I mean, we're going to be sub
is.
30 seconds, and at some point, Vagrants just have to go through. That smoke was maybe a little too shallow. Allows some opportunities here. Sandman clears out the one, but now it is just Sandman, and Obi will escort him out.
Nicely done again. Akimbo.
Does
playing the
feel like
patient game.
Akimbo have done a lot more thinking about how they want to play Inferno, doesn't it?
It does. Perhaps your first instinct, Mike, was right in that this could have been a trap. Maybe Inferno's back on the cards for Akimbo. Or they're just playing well. It's just lucky. I don't know. We'll see. It's still kind of early, and oh, Seb blindsides Laxi. That aggression does get punished this time. There's a Molotov, a good one thrown. Great flashbang to follow it up, and Vagrants might be able to get through to this B side again. It feels like a couple of rounds ago when they got to that B side and got the plant, and indeed, all 5 players still up as Mason collects another scalp.
And this time, you've got to save. You've got to save
Yes.
if you're Akimbo. It has to be done. N2O is looking for some sort of gift over this smoke.
Yeah, if I'm into, I'm not even trying to do anything of the sort.
Look at how aggressive they're getting on this hunt, though.
Yeah.
Vagrants are anticipating this, but their player is so low. They want to get the heck out of dodge. So counterintuitively, because they've gone so far afield, this actually became a very viable retake.
Yeah.
Can't know that, of course. If you're Akimbo, they do not have the omniscient view through the walls that we do. It's always the fun part when you show somebody CS esports at first, especially someone of, shall we say, an older generation.
Yes.
And then they hit that moment where they're like, I don't understand. Why doesn't he just shoot them? And you explain to them that they can't see the little colorful outlines through the walls.
Feels like common sense for us, Mike, but
But you have to think about it. You didn't grow up
you
with video
do.
games.
Yeah.
You're looking at what's on your screen.
I get it. Speaking about looking what's on our screens, the Vagrants have again pulled this back to within 2. And the money situation is now getting a little bit difficult for Akimbo. Yes, they still have a pretty much full buy. They had to settle for an MP none for camera, but he made that work a few rounds ago from balcony, so maybe he can do the same thing over at the B site this time. 3 players for Akimbo on A, and that is the correct one to be at, but N2O gets a little too eager pushing into those apartments. Brett takes his head right off. His eye is completely blinded, can't see a thing, and the Vagrants have walked through and taken charge into A.
Lax is going to back through the smoke trying to bail out. But seems to have an idea that there might be someone on the other side of this. Kind of a no man's land here. Actually, duel onto the banana now allows Cameron to get a little bit more involved, but that's probably just giving the bailout option on to Laxi. Ooh. Especially missing that jump. Surely they did not give this a look.
No. Even Akimbo doesn't fight this. Even...
There's an op, though.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. That's why they went back.
There's an op, though. An appetizing prize here for Laxi. And with that retrieve, they will pull the plug on this round. And the gap closes to just 1. Doja?
Do they have the... Yeah, Laxi. That's the nade. All right. Well, Vagrants will get that 4th, and now things get a lot more interesting. Thankfully for Akimbo, they do save a couple of rifles, and that means that the buy-up will be pretty respectable here. On the other side, though, it's a great recovery from the Vagrants because Akimbo were playing pretty well. That disciplined CS was coming through for them in a couple of those round victories. Let's see if they continue with it or go back to pushing down mid. Which, I mean, look, it has worked for them a couple of times, but usually it was on the anti-ecos. Seb gonna get naded down to 46, and the Vagrants don't want to give Akimbo any chance to get into mid. They charged in there and took all the space. How did those bullets not connect on Zai? One was so close to him, you could see the debris off the wall.
It's a game of millimeters sometimes, John. Game of millimeters, and Zai chose the wrong moment to find his millimeters on the other side of the smoke. Now there's the wrap. These A players are under threat. Brett's pushed his way through in towards spawn, which will cut off Obi on this rotation. Obi looking for it, though, aware. That's a massive kill to find, cauterizing the wound a little bit for Akimbo, but there's still more work to do, and the Vagrants are adding new wounds at every second. Now, a retake required, or more likely, safe.
Yeah, this is starting to look like a team that doesn't necessarily have the reps on Inferno. The Vagrants continue to overwhelm them on both sides of the map. Just with those aggressive pushes, and it's all timely too. The utility in particular has been absolutely on point for Vagrants. And you're going to see Akimbo are forced back here. They do get a couple of AKs out of the round, which isn't too shabby at the very least, but they've given up a 5-1 lead, Mike. That's 4 in a row for the Vagrants, who are trying to take a lead of their own, perhaps all the way into the second half. Sandman, ooh, drops a gun out of Cameron's hands. Can they find Obi in time? No, is the answer. Obi will at least save 1 rifle, but that makes it even more difficult here into this round for Akimbo. They call a timeout. It's not in their DNA.
Seb finds an early pick here. Zai wanted to get a little aggressive in towards middle, it seems, and nade on towards Laxi. Heavy presence here in the apartments. So they're hoping someone comes looking into apps and finds it infested with counter-terrorists. Harder to get out than bed bugs. Fortunately for them, they don't need to go through the apartments because they've just cleared out B.
And Brett's... Oh, what? How does that duo get that? He just jumps down, makes a ton of noise. Brett's like, what happened? Why is this even a thing? And he falls down to the ground, even though things are probably going to be fine for the Vagrants. They've got the B site. Full control. It's just a surprising play for everyone involved.
Jump scare. Jump scare. Brett's falling asleep at the wheel. He's just sitting there expecting the peek out from the apartments. Gets his bell rung. It's not really going to make too much of a difference. That gun immediately went up banana into the firing range.
That's
Laxi's giving this a look. Can't win the round. Escape with a gun. No. And without a gun taken through, it does not really tip the scales too much. There will be a buy in this final round for Akimbo, but the Vagrants were never threatened.
Yeah, not really. I mean, Brett got that jump scare like you were saying, but that's it. Vagrants will indeed take their first lead of Inferno. Or maybe they had one earlier on. I can't recall, but either way, this is when it counts because they've got 5 rounds in a row looking to make it 6. Get a 2-round lead of their own. On the other side for Akimbo, I think the biggest limiting factor here is that they don't have the big green in N2O's hands, which he looked really good with over on the CT side of Dust 2. Didn't get much of a chance to flex his off muscles here on Inferno. Laxi playing on top of porch and rooftop. And look at the first for himself and the follow-up on Brett. That's some good. That's a good swing and great crosshair movement for Laxi. But the problem is, it's even trades, and the T's are going to get this plant, and they look pretty comfortable now.
All right. N2O jumping around on the edge of the smoke, and he just catches a bullet through it.
Jeez, and Obi just caught one too.
Sub's not missing right now. Though Sandman will bring Obi out of play. It falls to Zai. First one found. He's down to 8, though, and he's running out of time. Fast running out of clock. Desperately trying to break his crossfire, and Seb will not be allowing it today. A 4-piece to put the lead through and into the halftime break.
Just shake the ground. Oh, this lightness, it will fill the air around. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. How let the future escape.
We're back! We're back into the fun. I don't know if it's so much fun for Akimbo. They started out well. They started out very well, and they have not been starting well ever since. It's not been looking good, to say the least. Vagrants grouped up. Fully stacking up this B site. Seem to have a little bit of a read here, and Sandman finding that first kill. With only one player spotted as well. There's no confirmation. Goes forth for that. Now here comes the stacking with 2 players in the back of the site and one fighting here from the coffins. Oh, it's an execution to the back of the head. Out from Mason. Finds another. Consti can't connect, but eventually does so. And with the bomb now dropped, it all falls to Laxi, who is so very far removed from the action. Laxi desperately trying to pull off this 1v3, but there's no particular reason to give him the fights that he seeks. They can just wait and play off of Seb's contact. There's no reason to move ahead of it. Has to cross. There's the spot. Now they know. And they will try and collapse onto Laxi.
Wow. Yeah, Akimbo tried to go fast there into the B site, and it just doesn't work out at all. The answers at every single turn were available from the Vagrants, and they now continue their round win streak. It hits 7 in a row. And that's pistol round as well, without a bomb plant found for Akimbo, meaning that they are just onto an eco here. It will be some pistol upgrades for everyone, though. 3 Deagles, a Tech 9, and a P250, but outside of that, they've got nada. So it's just got to be the crosshairs, got to be the bullets that do the damage of the round for them if they have any hope of making it materialize into something. As I say that, Laxi will get that first onto Brett, so fantastic start. Even better. N2O connects onto Sandman. This is a 4v3, and Consti's low.
Yes, indeed. You still have to keep in mind that these players don't have armor. So it's still possible they wind up getting chewed through, but we know how deadly they could be with these headshot machines, and Seb's going to have to do some work here off the MP9. Oh, boy.
Uh-oh, that's not
now
it.
Position compromised. He's low. How does he stay alive here? Swings out ahead of it, knowing an aid's coming in. At least gets the one. Mason's managed to rally to this, but Consti's got to put in some work. Will be able to do so, only to the tune of 1. It comes down to the clutch. And 2-0 is so low.
He's going B.
I mean, he's got it at this point just to secure the plant. No armor. 9 health. A mean look at this point will take him out of the round. N2O, though, quick thinking on the reroute, is going to give him an opportunity both to plant this bomb and then to get into a very cheeky spot to try and catch Mason off guard.
I mean, this is going to be really difficult. Mason has the incendiary as well, so we can at least put that down in one direction and isolate an angle. Man, ooh, that's not the good one. I guess it clears out dark for him. N2O waiting at Banana, and he will get the fight and win it. Wow. N2O finds the 6 in a round. Let's not forget that Akimbo only brought upgraded pistols into.
They didn't have armor, John.
No armor.
They were naked. Out in the streets of this Italian village. Streaking. Breaking public decency. And winning a round.
Unreasonable, some would say.
Absolutely unreasonable. Vagrant's going to be so frustrated with that. They'll force back in to try and regain some momentum here, but this might just be the break that Akimbo need to make a game of this one. Done it by the might of their guns. Now they'll need to do it by the might of some more. Mason following this up, and maybe they do know that Brett got into the tunnel here, right? Okay, N2O goes up above him. So Brett will be left alone for the moment. I don't think they know.
No,
they know. Feet.
Does it matter?
Spotted. Dropped on in. The clutch required. And N2O, a 4-piece put together to keep that one from getting out of hand.
What are these rounds? I mean,
madness.
Both of them crazy down to 1v1s. Akimbo gets is on the winning side of each of them, but still, that could have been an absolute coup for the Vagrants, and they could have pulled right back into that lead. Or I should say right back into the 2-round lead and put Akimbo on the ropes. But it doesn't happen, and now they have to go for an eco. It will just be USPs and 1 P250, a little bit of util available for the Vagrants. They're stacking B, Might be the right call, but it looks like Akimbo just want to poke and prod around the map. Seb gets one, and Mason another. They just swing around Banana, Mike, and they've got upgrades for days.
The bomb spawned on Banana as well. That's
Oh my
smoke
God.
committed just to retrieve this C4, just to try and funnel it on out. Brett's chasing.
I like it.
Brett is chasing, ambitious to say the least, but that would be the bomb. If he could find this kill, no. Lack of armor will eventually cost him. But it did allow a time for his teammates to reposition, so now they've got the stack in the right place. This smoke moto is going to section them off, though they want to play above it, they want to play ahead of it, and that sets up
Oh my
Consti,
God.
but he can't capitalize.
Consti had so much time. If he has a rifle there, forget about it. But he couldn't connect with the pistol shots. And Akimbo are able to react, get the frags in time. Had the right idea. It was just an eco, but it almost worked out again. Vagrants are tied up once more with Akimbo, 8-8. And now the guns come out. The stage is set for one of these teams to get the advantage. Akimbo really want it, though. I mean, they are the ones who are more at risk here right now in the standings. They need the victories to secure the playoff spot. It's going to be down to the wire for them, down to the very final matches for sure, if they make it or not. So one here would be fantastic. And that is not good in the round anyway, as Brett is going to drop Cameron immediately. 5v4 and a smoke toss towards that B site.
That was the right idea clearing into this. Oh, Laxi, that'll be heard. The drop down will have been heard. Audio queue given over. That's information now available for Akimbo. Tight to the smoke. Two players. They're not checked. They're not checked. Brett finds both. Seb at least collected in the meantime, but it's going to require another heroic play from N2O. He's been chock full of these. But he's completely separated from his teammate in Obi, who will be left alone at the top of Banana for the moment.
Well, now they know he's here, but I think he wants to attract the attention to give N2O a little bit of space to make it back into that A site, Mike.
The problem is that right now, at least, Consi's just sticking around here in towards the pit. Does he abandon his angle? They're not seeing anything behind it. And N2O is going to have to make noise, dropping down. There's the spot! And the shot from the USP is enough to put Vagrants back into the lead here.
Man, that's something else. I felt like Akimbo played that pretty decently, but the Vagrants just had the right positioning every single time, and even towards the end, right? N2O trying to get into that A site. Just, I mean, one way or another, you had to make noise, like you said, or he would have gotten spotted. Too many angles to clear. And with his teammate falling towards that B site, it was just Vagrants not really too fussed at the end of it. Oh, N2O with the Tech 9 gets overwhelmed by Consti's op, and Consti was really strong in the latter part of Dust 2 with the AWP. Maybe he'll do the same here in Inferno to close this one out. Seb, freebies for days. We've got free samples here. Oh, nice shot.
Free samples?
At least. Yeah.
There's no free samples. Everything comes with a cost. Did that get too real for you?
Yeah,
Got too real for
a
you.
little too true, Mike.
Too true.
Right. Akimbo. Are they going to charge up aggressively here into mid? Looks like they want to go banana once more. A lot of util being spent there as usual. The Molotovs and incendiaries don't do really any damage at all. And in fact, Vagrants aren't going to fight this that much. They back into the B site. They want Akimbo to come to them. Oh, Sandman, that's not good timing. Pulls the util. His teammate dies. Sandman will get the immediate trade, and he tosses the smoke ahead. Sees the player in it, and actually has the advantage here. Spamming down Obi to very low health, but he runs out of bullets. And Zai will run him down with a Tech 9. 4v3, and the B site has been taken. A lot of work for Consti to do here, and that smoke's not going to make his life any easier.
Oh my goodness. And now with that kill, there may not even be the possibility to save, right? Consti could theoretically have a path to it. It's going to be challenging for Brett to link up with him. Brett, though, will fight in towards the site. They know that one player is pretty far removed, though Cameron is drawing ever closer. Brett clears out, knows where the players are, knows where everybody is. He has all the information. Can he put the pieces of this puzzle together? Has to do it all himself.
No time.
Has to just back away, and Brett can't quite give him the slip. You could see, was putting together the picture of that clutch, was getting ever so close to it, but couldn't find that kill on Nubox quick enough.
If he gets one kill, sorry, not him, but if his teammate gets one frag on the other side, then they win that round, without question. Because Brett knew where the last player was at that point. But once he doesn't get the support, it just can't come through. Akimbo were able to burn enough time off that clock and wait out Brett long enough that they get a 9th round on the board and cut the lead down to 1 once more. Eco round coming through for the Vagrants. Couple of players with body armor. Kind of conservative, I guess, but I understand it because, you know, 3 players below the 3.5k mark, you don't really want to be forcing up in the situation, especially since you still technically have the lead. They're going to hope that the pistols can do some damage, which they have in past rounds, Mike. Ooh, Seb, are they going to clear this? Are they going to clear this? Nope. But he still dies.
The pivot.
Like the idea.
The pivot. That's getting value out of these CZs,
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. There is a risk as well. This is going to get interesting. Consti can get an upgrade. There's one available. The bomb was dropped bottom of T-ramp. And actually, is Cameron going to realize the timing here? Oh, Consti could do something crazy here. Gets the kill. The sustained fight is not going to be in his favor. Yeah, lack of armor somehow stays alive, but it means that there's a path towards a bomb plant here for the remainder of Akimbo as they realize that that lone site player is overextended. Some chip damage off of Mason. But now getting into a post-plant scenario with the limitations that Vagrants are under is going to be tough.
Yeah, but you got to go. You got to try. You didn't invest much into the round, and, you know, you got a smoke still available to you. Cameron's going to be the most difficult player to deal with at this point, and they're probably not going to clear him. He's just going to wait for the footsteps to go by. Probably going to get a frag or 2 here easily. There's one. Yeah, and Zai's on the other side. So, oh, Mason, headshot,
so.
Taps the bomb. Still a chance, but no kit, Mike.
Cameron calls this bluff. Cameron calls this bluff. Would have been a 10-second defuse. And at this point, Cameron has locked this in. Great patience, great diligence from Cameron. 4 kills in a round that should have been a lot more comfortable than it was.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we could say that for a lot of the rounds that have been played here on Inferno, Mike, between these two teams. Even Dust 2 was pretty tightly contested at a lot of those points, even though it turned out to be quite a one-sided victory in the end for Vagrants. All right. Well, the guns are out for Vagrants once more. They've got the big green in Consti's hands. And 2-0 says, I don't need the op. Use this AK effectively, and the nades tossed perfectly by Cameron and Laxi. Consti doesn't even fire a shot, and neither do Akimbo, and he's dropped down to the ground. Obi gets the follow-up on Brett. They are just storming into this A site. This is the typical Akimbo we expected to see round after round, but it's kind of the first time they've really blitzed this A site.
This is nice, though. Seb getting that kill actually gives him somewhere to defend from, though.
Wow,
They're not going to give him any safe haven. And they're going to back away. Yeah, Vagrants doesn't have an interest in this retake. They don't have an interest in this. Need to keep the money going as Akimbo now slides into the lead. Momentum in their favor. Money in a very difficult spot for the Vagrants. This map has gotten out of control.
It really has. Wow. I mean, just mortars being tossed by Akimbo, one after the other. Vagrants really couldn't do much of anything other than save the guns in this round. Alright, there's the lead for Akimbo back in their hands. They were the ones that played better in the first 6 rounds of that first half, and then things started to slip away, but they're fighting, clawing their way back into this one. 2 rounds away from at least getting a map victory here and splitting the series. The Vagrants with those 3 guns saved over have other plans, and they want to talk over those plans here.
We seem to go for some aggression on the limited rounds before, but they've even got more to work with than that. They've got the utility. That's the key piece, right? So you can afford to play a little bit of the slower style if you want to. But as we've seen, Akimbo don't afford you too many opportunities for that. They are going to find the fight early.
Maybe take a page out of Akimbo's playbook and try to get aggressive down mid, right? Because Akimbo might not expect that. I don't know. But my other thought would be that they're comfortable with taking early fights, so I don't know if you just be playing into their hands. It's tough to call right now for the Vagrants. I think you're right in your first thought, Mike, that just play it slower. Get the util down and see if you can hold off Akimbo. Those incendiaries aren't as effective as holding teams back as a Molotov will be, but you gotta try, and it looks like so far it's at least stalled them out a little, but that incendiary goes right over their heads, and yep, there's N2O with 2 quick ones, goes right past everything, and the exact same story as before.
Brett was trying to set up flashes for his teammates, but Akimbo actually went ahead of them. How has Brett snatched that and survived? There is no world where he should have gotten out of that. Astonishing. Brett has cheated death in this round. We'll see if it comes back to haunt Akimbo. There's a smoke, but it's on the other side of the map, so the Molotov is going to have to do for now for a little bit of extra stall out. The aid from Consti could be huge, but he doesn't want to tip them off to this first Orange's position. So he's tucked. They're ringing out shots. Do they overlook Consti? Yes, they do. Indeed. Gets himself 2 as a result of it. And now it all falls to Cameron. They're double swinging. And Brett, the man who survived Banana, deals the finishing blow. We are all knotted up here. We are going the distance, John.
That is unbelievable. N2O did an incredible job with 2 openers. You have to win that round if you're Akimbo. 9 times out of 10, you do win that round. But Brett somehow, around the edge of that smoke, gets a second frag beyond the initial contact that he had, right? Because he had 2 players to deal with. It's the player that was further away that he frags. Then, as you mentioned, gets away from the fight. Even surviving that in the first place would have been an accomplishment for Brett. But he not only survives it, he gets a frag as well. And now they're getting aggressive down Banana. Opening frag found. Trade by N2O, who's got to be frustrated with the result of the previous one. This has just been some chaotic CS.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy in the last right because Brett is throwing flashes to set up his teammates.
Exactly.
And then they don't get the kills, so he just does it himself.
Akimbo have a chance to strike here again towards the B site. No one's on the site proper. They may have realized that. Sandman going for the spam, but he gets the worst of it. 3 HP remains.
Limping. Might be able to clear up this alt mid lurk. So leave Consti behind to consider the possibility, and meanwhile the teammates have to rotate in if they actually want to go for this retake.
I mean,
possibilities are starting to slip away. I mean, time's starting to become an issue. They still have the util to make this work, and it seems like they're going to try and commit. But a resmoke onto that cross makes it all that much more difficult. Sandman, though, does get the first. Tip of the spear, sets himself up for the trade as the low HP player. And they are trying to collapse upon this. There's no time to spare. They need to get stuck onto that bomb right now, right here. And the Banana player does enough. There is no time for this. Brett is going up in a puff of smoke. It's 12 rounds on for Akimbo.
Wow. I mean, absolutely brilliant effort from Vagrants. They just ran out of time. If they had set that up 2 seconds earlier, I would say, they would have had enough time to get that defusal, but you know, hindsight is 20/20, and they tried their best to get themselves sorted out and get that util tossed in, and honestly, it was a great attempt, as mentioned. It just fell a little bit short, and Akimbo hang on in another round that comes right down to the wire. We're in number 24 here, and there's still enough money for the Vagrants to say something in this round. What they will say is another question. AWP for Consti, Brett, and Consti actually combined for that opening frag through the smoke onto Obi. 5v4 immediately.
Begging for overtime. Begging for more rounds. Can Akimbo put this away? The map that looked like it was going to be such a tough challenge for them. Certainly has been, but they've been up to it. Now you just have to get one more over the line. Consti spotted. Should have had the information on N2O as well. But as he peeks back in, Consti's already ready for the reposition. N2O has made magic happen plenty of times here on Inferno. So you have one more big multi-kill round in him. They're going to group up for the B hit.
I'm not sure about that.
Coming back the other way. Never mind. That means numbers are here. Consti's in position. The utility has run relatively dry. There's one nade remaining on this side of the map, but if you dry peek him, Consti will all too easily find that punish. And he's just shifting up. Yeah. Well, he's just trying to keep them guessing as to where that op is, right? But this does leave an exposed moment. Seb slipping into the apartments could be huge here with this 5-7. Right on the rifle. Swings in. Risks so much of his own health to do so, but he's trying to stall them out, and now Consti's trying to come back through. Doesn't seem to have the comms to know the positioning here. Brett down for the count. Seb, 5-7 striking from the apps, and this might just delay them. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. There's no time. We're going to overtime. The Vagrants have done it. The clock runs out, and we need more rounds.
Wow. That's absolutely wild. But expected as well, because it just got really back and forth. Both teams were so close round in, round out, that it was anyone's round every single time. And, well, time is the enemy for Akimbo in the final round, and they just couldn't get themselves onto that bomb site cleanly. Great job by Consti. I mean, I do agree, you know, going off towards that B site does keep them guessing, even though Akimbo had the opportunity to strike. They just didn't expect that player to be in the apps. It's the 5-7 that makes the difference. And we need more than regulation. We need MR15, Mike, to decide this one.
That we do. Just a good old 30-round game of Counter-Strike. Let's go! It's like old time's sake.
Yeah.
Tag up on the Consti. But it's N2O to find first blood as N2O's trying to single-handedly clear out B to great effect. Think on a Mason, traded back the other way, but they could just move the bomb in towards B. They've got the site. They've got all but the round. Seb might be able to clear out this apartment's presence. Indeed, he will. Cameron never expecting the push. That makes this retake at least imaginable. Brett doesn't want to retake. He wants to deny the bomb plant altogether and nearly does so.
Just these madcap decisions that come through here from both sides. Brett just pushing through the smoke and almost disrupting everything for Akimbo. But Vagrants want to recover those AKs. I think that's more valuable to them than trying to go for this one, and I do agree with that.
They're out. They're conceded, so Akimbo couldn't do it in regulation, but here in OT, they strike first. And so much of it was just up to N2O. That was a ridiculous sequence to open up the B bomb site to give them the chance at the plant. He's just a solo dynamo in so many of these rounds.
I mean, you look at N2O in terms of his opening kill prowess, and he leads the team. He's got 30.6% attempts, either with the rifle or the AWP. This time it's mostly been the rifle on Inferno. And a 54.3 success rate, 54.3% success rate, excuse me, and a 1.26 rating. I mean, he's very strong in those opening duels, and we've seen it time and time again. Both here, I think more here on Inferno, but on Dust 2 as well. It's crazy what he's been able to help his team achieve.
Perhaps that new PC?
I guess so.
No Cameron, but no Seb either. Trade effective here. And speaking of a peak, speaking of aggressive play, trying to open up the site again, but this time Mason says close for business here on B. Smoke in the face of OB means that they are going to have to slow things down in Akimbo. But numbers disadvantage, try and get a little desperate. That was ambitious, to say the least, from Obi.
Yeah.
With a minute still to work with on the clock, and now Laxi will attempt a 1v3 clutch.
Well, he's making the right decision at the very least. Mason, the only one on the B site, so technically a 1v1 to get control of B. It's just that it's being watched so with Mason. Oh, what?
Oh, unless he hit the
Laxi wins
headshot.
that. He's holding the angle, too.
Mason's aim a little high, perhaps. Either way. That's a post plant. First step, done. Second step, plant bomb, done. Third step, clutch up.
They're taking too long.
Clock's running out. They're going to start to make some noise out of the coffins, but that's to redouble their efforts here. I expect a new box play, and now it's just going for the stick. Brett cleared out, and Sandman does not have any better luck. A clutch up indeed. 1v3 comes to fruition here as Laxi puts them ahead by 2.
No, he just took too long. They had the utility. They had plenty of time, the man advantage, and they just decided to wait for half of the time to take away off the bomb before throwing a single piece of utility. That gives the advantage to Akimbo to great effect, even though it's only a 1v2, and I just think he picked the perfect spot to hide. Well, 14-12, even though the Vagrants had that one in the palm of their hands, it slips right through their fingers. Cameron will pop the smoke. Get an opener. Wow. This is starting to trend Akimbo in a very significant way. Looks like B is going to be the final destination for Akimbo. Smoke gets tossed towards the A site just to try and distract here, but Consti hits the op shot onto N2O to even out the numbers and force Akimbo back. 43 seconds left. I mean, they do have some space gain. If they get the pit player here, Mike, they should be good, and getting Sandman on the fadeaway helps even more. All right. Three v2. Zai. Gonna connect on to Seb. Consti. Last one standing to try and clutch up, but he can't, Mike, and it will be a no-scope to cap off the first half of overtime, 15-12.
We're back in.
Yes.
One more round required here for Akimbo, John. That's all that they need.
All they need indeed. That's unbelievable that they were able to clean sweep that one, even though the Vagrants, they had that second round of overtime without a question of a doubt, and they just couldn't secure it. It was unbelievable. Molotov's going to get exchanged here towards Banana. N2O wants to end it so eagerly that he burns his feet down to 44 HP. Obi and N2O, yeah, they're getting aggressive. This is the Akimbo we often see when things are close to being closed out. They want to get into the face of their opponents and end it.
Define the battle lines. Lock this on down, but they're going to leave Obi on his lonesome. And at least for the moment, Vagrants are prepared to swarm. N2O was just going back to pick up extra utility. He's going to need it, as Obi only finds one. battled down against that smoke, and now N2O backs away. Was tagged up in the early fray. And it's just looking to find this chain util, but Sandman's ahead of it! He peeks out wide!
Wow.
That was such a risk not to drop the smoke from a safer angle! And it cost them! A huge mistake made here! Vagrants will plant this bomb, and how do you even get back into this round? They're so far away, are Akimbo.
Oof, nice shot from Seb. Managed to take down Zai. Cameron gets a trade, but I mean, Akimbo don't really have that much of a path back in. I think they're trying to find the AKs on the ground, and there you go. About half of the time going to be ticked off the bomb here, and they might just want to save the AKs, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
One round back the other way for the Vagrants. Took maybe some overextension out from Akimbo, but as we know, that is at times their Achilles heel. A little bit of their kryptonite. Two more required if we're going to go beyond 30, John. Do you believe?
I kind of do. I mean, the way this has gone, it wouldn't surprise me to see the Vagrants get two more and push us to double OT. Let's see, though. Akimbo got fire in their bellies. They really want to end this one and finally secure a map victory that they that they desperately need. Vagrants are not going down easily. Nade. Ooh, that's a juicy nade. N2O down to 15, and the incendiary flies in afterwards, so they have to vacate the premises there towards top banana. Obi doesn't want to, though. He continues to fight forward, and just to keep the fear in the Vagrants there, keep them off that banana position. It's working so far.
Jump spot. Then a little more aggressive jump spot. But they're going to have to fade away. Smoke's regained here for OB. As they're making their way over the half wall. That's not the most ideal bounce.
No.
They'll have to make it work. Laxi finding some engagement elsewhere is going to keep his teammates. No, never mind. They're actually going to read this. They're going to make the rotation, but the kills can't come in, and Laxi is gone. The player through the smoke. Can't really do too much about this, as Brett is already in position to deny these rotates in one more round. That's all the Vagrants require. And right now, they are punishing this B-hold.
Yeah, that smoke didn't do Akimbo any favors. A lot of space around it for the Vagrants to see things. And really, phenomenal job. I mean, even with that slight advantage, they still had to hit the shots, and they absolutely did. So we are down to the wire again here in overtime. One round remains for either Akimbo to take it, get a map on the board for themselves to help them in their playoff hopes, or Vagrants push us to double overtime. Alright, Obi on the top of the half wall. A little dangerous, especially with those flashes coming in. I think he's got to get out of here. Obi wants to hang around a little bit longer, hoping that someone is careless enough to walk through this smoke, but Vagrants, they are wise to the possibilities, and they play the patient game.
N2O finds first blood. It's been a while since we've said that. There's
Yeah,
one that
it
breaks
has.
the weight of the Akimbo, and now that locks down B. And with OB close at hand here, there are bodies galore on the site itself. They're headed into the stack, and are the vagrants prepared to dismantle it? No one's moving a muscle right now for Akimbo. They're holding strong in this setup. Now the execution comes in. Consti, great kill to find with the
What?
Molotov. Oh, it distracts. No one's looking the right way, and all the kills stack up for vagrants. The bodies were all here for Akimbo, but no one pulled the trigger.
That's absurd. What? All right,
Wipe the
whoa!
clear. It's not done. It's not done. And 2-0 still has something to say about this, but the Molotov will hold him at bay. This is frustration, but there's just nothing he can do. He doesn't have the health to risk this. He doesn't have the health to charge through. He barely has the health for these fights. And it'll be Sandman to put him down. We're going again here, John. You can put all the bodies in the right place, but if they can't hit a headshot, it just doesn't matter a jot.
Both teams swept their T sides. So we go again into double overtime. We do have a timeout called here. Wondering if this is a bathroom break, because this map has been going on for quite some time. Man, oh man. Unbelievable that the vagrants are able to pull that one through. Kimbo had their chances, but just could not get it done, especially in that last round, right? You talked about it. They had everyone there. Everyone was ready for the fight, and no one could get their mouse clicked. It was, wow.
It's also like N2O is just saying, what more can I do? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I get my one kill. You leave me alone. I get my one kill. I secure it. Everybody's stacked up. You have all the information in the world.
It's unbelievable.
Can't find the round they needed.
Just trying to check the nature of this timeout here. Do you have any info at all?
Vibe disconnected. Need to reconnect Vibe. Unplug it. Plug it back in. Bring good vibes in.
Get the vibes. No, we've got no information on this pause. But it doesn't matter anyway, because it's over.
That's good enough. That's my favorite kind. The one that's done. Let's bring it through. One more go at this. It's all even here. The magic number, folks, is 19. First team to 19 gets the W. If they both get 18, we go again. And it's paused again.
Oh boy, what's going on here?
Uh-oh.
Tech pause, headset, bathroom break. All right. I had one of those things. Correct. Should be back alive now, Mike.
I don't think WC means bathroom break for Osadank.
Really?
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't say that in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, water closet, not a thing in the U.S.
I mean, I know it isn't, but it just feels like, what else could it be?
I don't know. Wild card.
No, I think
They're joining the server.
maybe Osadank says WC for... Come on.
Maybe he does. You know, might have to deal with Europeans. Anyways, here we go. Here's the Sandman. Whoever you're dealing with frags out the wazoo, as once again that B site is tested and completely battered. The vagrants shattering any illusions that Akimbo had that they might be able to regain control here after the new period of OT. This bomb is down. This round, it falls to Cameron. First kill found. First test overcome. But Cameron right now is just trying to stay alive, wary that a flank could be coming through, and it is indeed. Here it goes. Next one knocked down. Eventually, might start thinking about a path towards the bomb plant. They're all trying to fight him one by one. They're giving him the opportunities. Cameron, at this point, there's still time. There's not a lot of it, but there is still time.
No, he's too far, Mike.
And Mason realized what was happening. Back the heck up on this one.
I think he'd want to grab that AK off the ground, not stick with the M4. Especially given that it's overtime.
Did you see all those headshots? Of course he's sticking with the M4. Why would you change it?
No, but Why? But why else save in overtime? Like you
I
have
don't
to have a
know. I
reason.
don't know. I don't know what the
You
logic
know?
was there. I mean, your money can run out, right?
Yes,
It's not
but
infinite.
you could just keep the AK and drop the AK for someone else and have an M4 bought for you, or buy it yourself. I mean, there's lots of options in overtime. Anyway, whatever.
Lots of options indeed. But the big option we have to wonder, so they have the option where they don't all die instantly. Intuo's brought the op over towards the other side of the map this time, but Brett still found his teammate and they're trying to funnel their way through the smokes. This is so ambitious, and Sandman's on the wrong side of this for the defense. Falls to Obi here to hold court. Intuo maybe getting overwhelmed, but no,
Oh.
Seb wasn't looking for it. And now does Obi realize there's a player past him?
I don't think he's aware at all.
There was a smoke thrown. Obi's looking for it. Obi!
Oh.
He is indeed. Brett's got to clutch this up. 30 kills already found to his name, but he's just realized, oh, I have to go back for the bomb.
He's got a lot of time, at least, to maneuver himself around the map.
Moto Smoke is designed to hold N2O here, and it's actually pulling Obi as well on the rotation. So Brett takes this towards B. Well, Obi's called his bluff.
He doesn't have a smoke either. Maybe there's one on the ground somewhere. Yeah, it looks like it.
It's just about everything else on the ground, so might as well have a smoke.
Exactly.
Can smoke the cross. Here it comes. It's a bomb plant. Locked and loaded. And he plants it a little more exposed than he might otherwise do. Flashbang through. That's ambitious from Obi. And now the true 1v1. Nade pop. Okay, if you were wondering where this player is, you're not anymore. Brett brings through the clutch. And Vagrants now stand with the 2-round lead.
Unbelievable. Again, another 1v1 at the end of the round, and it's Brett. I mean, he brought it back for more than that, as you mentioned, Mike, but still, he clutches it out. 17 rounds for Vagrants, even though that's one where Akimbo should have had it. Again, N2O doing an insane amount of work in a round they can't win. What a shame for him, as the smoke's going to come through, and the Vagrants are on quite a tear for themselves here in this overtime. It was almost curtains for them, 15-12. And since that point, they have not lost a single round, 5 in a row, looking to make it 6. All of those rounds on their T side. Not a single CT round has been won here in overtime yet.
Not yet. First time for everything, but Brett is not slowing down at all. He has been the engine of this squad.
Jesus.
And that doesn't seem to be changing. Someone should probably bring the bomb. Someone should probably bring the bomb. Someone should probably bring the bomb, especially now that you've lost your
Three
lurk in the
people turned
apartments.
around. Yeah.
And it seems like that has been communicated to them now. A desperate jump through the smoke. Player in pool. That was bold from Laxi. That's a boldly he will falter as he feeds himself to the mill that is Brett. It's this weird situation where you've got so much control here. But you almost want to rotate off because, of course, they're going to have buddies here. There's no reason to save for Akimbo. So they're anticipating that it might be a cheeky rotate through towards B. Why else would they wait that long to plant? Nope. Bamboozled.
Now they got to come back.
Bomb was here all along. They've
Not
been
quite.
here the whole time. How do you get back on this? Smoke for Banana. They will all just swing, and a nice bit of shooting from Sandman means that one more round is all the Vagrants need.
Sandman putting them to bed. 18th round found for the Vagrants. And yeah, only one more is needed, as was the case for Akimbo after their T side. Let's see if a CT round victory comes through.
We got confirmation from Ozo. He does, in fact, say water closet.
Okay.
So it was, in fact, a toilet. Ozo is a
Told you.
secret Brit.
I knew it. I knew it. He's used it
I mean,
before.
I was just surprised. Homie's from Florida. They don't say we say in Florida. Swing on in. Sandman's looking to put this whole map to bed.
Yeah.
And he's sprinkling grains in their eyes in the form of bullets. Although, how on earth trying to get back over the half wall over your teammate? This is chaotic. But this map couldn't continue any other way. Coming to the 3-on-3. Consti holds the line. Consti looking to lock this in. And that is a lackadaisical way to move on through. A smoke again. Consti collects.
Oh, Mike.
Now you're running out of the numbers. The op's still posted. Obi's the next one to feed himself in, and this one could just be over. But Cameron has other things to say about it.
Oh.
Leg shot. Cameron low. Molotov on. He has the time. Doesn't have to risk this, but Consti just comes right back into the fight, and finally, we are done. We have come to the conclusion.
Wow.
Vagrants have done it, John.
I mean, great work from them. Getting 2 maps on the board this late into the season is phenomenal for their standing.